Welcome to Boat in Germany. We're at the boat show. My name is Dean Paarman. I'm accompanied with President and founder of Balance Catamarans, Phil Berman, and Vice President of Customer Experience, Patrick Roscoe. And we're here to have a follow-up conversation from our previous video, which was on quality control at Balance Catamarans. And right now we're going to talk a little bit more about warranty, which is yet again a very, very important subject, not just for us, but for our owners, for our customers, that we do a good job in warranty. And today we want to just share with you some insights into what that looks like at Balance Catamarans. So with that, Phil, tell us a little bit more about what is at the core of warranty for Balance.
Well, obviously, we wouldn't even have to have a discussion of warranty if we built perfect boats. And in the last conversation, we talked about the quality control process. The quality control process is about trying to build boats as perfectly as possible so that we don't have to deal with warranty. Because in the end, warranty is frustrating for consumers and frustrating for us and costly. And this is true for all boat builders. Nobody builds a perfect boat. The goal is to build as perfect a boat, as you possibly can. So Patrick is directly involved in attempting to constantly, improve the warranty service and support process with our whole team. So I think he's a better person to, talk about that process-wise.
I mean, the process is challenging. As we said in our previous video, we'll have 100 boats on the water here by the end of this year. And we're building a product that goes all over the world. It's not as simple as supporting a regional product or even a product within a certain country. These boats are exploring the world, and we want our owners to go out and see the world in a balance. I mean, that's the best way to see it, I think. So it's always challenging following these boats around the world and making sure we can support them wherever they are when something does go wrong, which inevitably it will. It's not if, it's when on some of these products, because they're in a very corrosive environment. They're being used at a different level versus your home domestic systems that you have. So they're constantly needed to be supported, either warranty or maintained. On the warranty side, it's a challenging task to be able to know what's going on, know where people are, and be able to support them in wherever port of call they may be or remote island to make sure they get the support they needed. It's obviously getting much easier nowadays with improvements in communications. Obviously now all of our boats, every owner is outfitting Starlink on their boat, which has made things drastically easier to stay in communication during passages and wherever they are in the world. We can have a video call and we can support them and get them exactly what they need when something does go wrong.
And these people are sailing all over. We have boats all over the South Pacific and in Asia, and some people come out of Cape Town and turn right, and some people turn left, some people go north, and that's a big part of it. And one initiative that you've been engaged in with you has been our recognition that the people that purchase our boats come from a wide range of background in terms of their experience in yachting, handling a boat, maintaining a boat, troubleshooting a boat. So why don't you talk a little bit about that process that you've been working on together?
So let's start with the product. No matter how much we simplify and make these boats easy to sail and easy to operate and maintain, they're still very complex. I mean, the systems that are on board and what has to be constantly monitored and checked, it's a big endeavor. So one of the goals I think we've really noticed in the past 2 years is how can we prep our owners in waiting, folks that are waiting for their boats to splash. How can we get them more prepared? They're not in South Africa for 9 months during the entire production of their boat, learning about their boat, getting opportunities to sail. They don't have that time. So how can we give them homework? What can we do to make that handover experience less stressful? Because when you do get to South Africa and you do finally get to see your boat in the water and you're going through everything and you're learning all the systems and all the sail handling and everything that needs to be done, it can be an overwhelming few weeks in South Africa. So one of our goals was let's train them before they get to South Africa. What can we do so they know the boat inside and out before they even see their boat in person? So that was a big initiative for Dean and I, was to really identify what are the most challenging aspects when learning a new balance. What are the things that you need to know? Where are the transfer valves, shutoff valves, how to use your water maker, how to maintain your air conditioning units, where everything was located on the boat. Even though everything is very well labeled, just having a better idea of knowing exactly where to go. So it's very simple for us. It's like, well, let's just video everything. Let's do a single video for each aspect of the boat. We can provide a checklist on make sure you watch all these and learn your boat. So by the time you get there, you know exactly where to go. Our head of commissioning at the docks is going to educate you on everything, but it's such a much better experience and less stressful experience when you are with Cameron, our head of commissioning in Cape Town, and you're ahead of the curve. You already know what he's going to show you.
Yeah, and the other initiative you guys have been working on together is we have this owner's portal. So they can download all these videos onto their own laptop or computer on their boat, but they can always access it on the app.
They have it.
One of the things that, well, I saw the value of this was this past summer, one of our owners contacted Patrick. I heard him on the phone, and he was approaching a US port, and he realized that he needed to shut off his holding tank to be in compliance. He'd come all the way from South Africa, through the Caribbean, whatever, had never shut off his holding tank. Okay? He said, Patrick, I forgot. How do I shut off my... I can't remember where it is. And Patrick just said, just go here. And 5 minutes later, he called back, thank you very much. Boom, I did it, you know? But he wouldn't have had to have called Patrick if he had remembered that all these things are available to him, you know, on the app and on the owner's portal and on his laptop in a video.
I was going to contribute earlier that there's kind of two things that we're doing here. One is taking away that anxiety of being alone out there. And then the other is just to prevent misuse, right? And that's because just people don't know how to use things properly, and nobody reads the manual. So you want to watch the manual these days.
Right. Then people come with different levels of preparation and experience. I mean, the one thing that's really nice, as you said, with Starlink is that on the inverters and the electrical systems now, the techs in Cape Town or in Europe can go online and actually look at what's going on. They can remote in and diagnose an issue perhaps with the inverter charger system or the lithium system, which is really good. Because when you get into, you know, software issues or programming issues, that can be hard for anybody.
Exactly, yeah.
That doesn't have the expertise with the brand, you know, to do that. And now it can be done even while they're sailing, which is cool.
And while we're on the owner's portal, it's got three main functions right now. One is just feedback through questions. The other is resources, which is what we were talking about now. But then to bring it back to the topic of the video, the warranty, we also have that integrated into that now.
Exactly. So the owner's portal's kind of evolved very quickly in the last 12 months. You know, it was originally proposed to really support the community, to be kind of this community channel where owners can communicate and support each other on issues or questions or, you know, products for their boats or how to upgrade, things like that. And
or what restaurant to eat at in Beckway. I mean, there's a lot of that kind of
that's
stuff,
where it really transitioned to, is the owner's portal became more of a resource platform. And that's, we saw the advantage of being able to have this platform on desktop and on app to be able to put all of our resources for picking up your boat, optioning your boat, everything from start to finish. And then we were like, well, now we're getting more questions and we're following warranty and we're tracking the warranty data and we're seeing what some of the trends were and how they were developing. And we're like, well, let's add this to the owner's portal. Let's add all of your manuals. So all of your manuals are in your owner's portal. You can pull them up on your phone and you can go into each PDF and be able to have that accessible, because you may not have it on the boat. You may not have printed it correctly. And in addition to that, we just did all the videos of the manuals. Is basically how it kind of came to fruition, was, well, what else can we offer and how can we make it easier?
And some of those products, for example, like Yanmar or Harken, they have their own videos that we link to, right, on how to rebuild your Harken winch. Or so some of the videos we don't have to do ourselves because it's done.
If there's an OEM that's
if
done
there's
it
an
better
OEM
than we
that's
can,
done it better than us, then we go up, then it's right there and available.
Yeah, I think Spectra is probably one of the better examples of doing really well thought out videos on how to maintain your water maker.
Well, we did one with them too, though. We've also got our own series with them. But yeah, you're right. You're spot on. That is it. So let's go away from the computer and into the real world.
Right.
Things go wrong on boats. We know this. What is that experience like for an owner out there in the middle of nowhere?
It depends upon where things went wrong, right?
Okay.
Did it go wrong between Cape Town and the island of Helena? Between Helena and Fernando de Noronha? Did it happen in the Cook Islands? Did it happen in Fiji? Right. And Patrick will talk about that and building out the support, because all these builders here at this boat show, none of them have warranty service and repair centers all over the world in every place. They ultimately end up having to rely upon contractors or providers in certain locations. So why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
So let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about warranty issues and kind of how we categorize them, because there's two warranty issues that need to be kind of addressed here. There's builder related issues that typically are QC issues that come about, during that first passage. And then there's OEM issues. And the majority of warranty issues that we see from our owners now are unfortunately OEM related. And OEM related can be difficult because the owner is responsible for maintaining that relationship, registering their warranties in Cape Town before they leave. And our commissioning team helps them through that process to make sure everything is registered before they actually head out. And then making sure those OEMs are being responsive and providing the level of service that we would expect out of them to make sure they're getting that response. Now, we have teams in place, both in Cape Town and St. Francis, as well in the US, to serve as a backstop for when things do fail on the OEM side. On the builder side, that team is supporting any builder warranty issues that are coming in. And we have those teams in 3 places because we want to make sure we are covering as much of the time zones as we can to support our customers when they're around the world. Because inevitably, someone's going to be closed and they want to be able to get through. If they're having a major issue, it can be a very stressful situation and they want to talk to somebody. So that's when, again, they'll reach out to us, they'll reach out to the US, they'll reach out to Cape Town via Starlink or whatever SATCOMs.
And if they're here in the Med, we have Elan in Cannes and Roussillon, and we have shipyards in Italy, and you can talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, so support structure, that's ever growing and ever changing. We know that all of our owners are moving throughout the world, and it's a constant challenge on making sure we build out that preferred service provider network.
Preferred service providers.
Yeah, because there's a lot of unfortunate bad ones that we don't want to recommend. We don't want to send our owners to because they're going to not provide either us a great experience or our builders a great experience in providing timely resolution on whatever they may be dealing with. With that, again, that's all in the owner's portal. That's all now. That's all now listed, so they can see, they can plug in the GPS coordinates, and they know exactly where to go. And we also now have expanded that service provider list to make sure that all of our owners know which locations can provide haul out for their beams. Catamarans can be difficult sometimes to be able to pull out based on the facilities and what they have to be able to accommodate a larger boat. And then with that, again, that is always changing and ever growing, and we kind of follow our customers around the world to make sure they have proactive support.
We have a couple boats in New Zealand right now, for example, that we found the right company to help them do a few little things. Actually, a lot of things they're getting done are not warranted at all. It's just things that they're wanting to do to their boat. And it's basically, we know our customers are circumnavigating.
Yeah, they're coming
and
back
we
to
know
Cape
that
Town.
some of them are going into the far north. And it's interesting too, because Europeans now are actually starting to discover sailing into New England now and Nova Scotia and the north. Instead of going south during hurricane season, south of Grenada, they're starting to go north. So also building out service and support in those locations. Yeah.
Let's talk about the warranty process while we're at it. So something does go wrong. What do our owners do? Typically, we have them fill out a warranty form. It's very simple. And the reason we ask for that is because we want to track. We want to know what's going on. We want to be able to identify trends. If we do have a certain, especially on the OEM side, a product that we need to really take a deeper dive. If we're constantly seeing this come through as a warranty issue, we want to go back to the builders and let the builders know that this is a product that we should be supporting, or we should look for a better option.
Right. For example, we had, over the last 3 years, we've been using a certain window port supplier. I won't mention the name of the company. They're very, very large. And the product was corroding very quickly, corroding.
Yeah, the powder coat finish
was not applied properly. Maybe it was a COVID, who knows? But ultimately, we ended up fighting with them, and they gave us some new ones, but then we had to replace these ports. And finally, we just said, okay, enough is enough. You're not good enough, and you're causing us problems and causing our customers consternation, causing us consternation. So we shifted to another provider. We've had, our electric furlers. We had a problem. An electric furler was provided to us by a company in Europe, and without letting us know, they changed some of the internal components that they were getting from overseas that failed. And we had a couple customers that had furlers that failed on them. Mm-hmm. And that's frustrating for the customer.
Of course.
And then we've said, okay, well, you had your shot at pleasing us and our customers, and we're going to someone else.
Find something better.
Yeah. And just on that topic of choosing, I have noticed that, the conversations, I'm not always involved in that type of part of the business, but I do hear it's like you choose products that have support globally, right? That's just built into...
Well, look, I mean, you try.
You try, of course.
You try very hard, and we try... When we have a relationship with a partner that is super critical to us, where almost everybody is using that product, we will try and get a service level agreement in place with that manufacturer. So you could talk a little bit about Integral and Navico, perhaps. I mean, we have a service level agreement with them, and we have expectations with them about servicing. And I mean, I think it is... Customer service varies obviously throughout the world. I mean, I think we're being an American company. Americans are really used to like rapid response kind of thing. And I think my feeling is, unless it's a weekend or, whatever, people, if they have a problem, should be spoken to or notified within a day or two at the most.
Yeah.
Okay. And if it's an emergency, they should be able to call and get help, because we've been called on the weekend over this, that, or the other thing. And, we'll be there for them.
We have to be.
Have to be.
I think that's the first part of any conversation with any new OEM provider that we're looking at. Is what is your support? How are you distributed? What is your level of global support? How are you going to support us when we're trying to help an owner? And what do you need from us to be able to expedite resolution as quickly as possible? And if they don't have a good answer for that, that's they may not be a partner with us.
Yeah, exactly.
We just had a conversation with a potential partner just here in the stand before we started this conversation, and that was the first question that I asked them.
We asked.
Yeah.
Are you distributed in South Africa? Are you supported in South Africa? And then what happens after they leave?
Yeah. What are you going to do? The other issue really is, if people need a part of something fails, a pump or a this or that, the challenge is the people are moving targets, right? And we have somebody in the United States that can fire off something overnight, whatever, to a Grenada or a St. Martin or whatever. But the parts have to get that. First, they have to be procured. Then they have to be shipped. Then they have to get through the customs of whatever island it is. And so coordinating with the customer, well, how long are you going to stay in Grenada? Okay, are you going to be there for a week, or are you going to be there for 2 weeks? Where are you going next? So, because you have to communicate to make sure you can get that part to them where they happen to be. This moving target issue, it does present a challenge.
I mean, the warranty role, I think for us, is more of a logistics role.
It's
really not, because we know we're going to solve it. We know we're going to get everybody fixed and
committed
and
to doing
sailing
that.
Again.
Yeah.
But it's the logistics of all the challenges and all of the red tape that you have to deal with when you're trying to navigate a global environment.
Right. Yeah. And that's true for all boat builders, really. And I think, again, we've arrived over the last couple years to where we are a medium-sized company. We have now enough people in place to do what I believe is a really good, a credible job.
Yeah.
But it always, in the end, starts with caring for the customer and being proud of the products, that we're building. And nothing upsets us more than having a product failure or an issue, right? It's because, it's not like we sit around trying to come up with ways to make our customers miserable. Like all builders, what we're trying to do is come up with ways to make our customers as happy as we can.
Yeah.
Starts with choosing the right products, starts with quality, but when you have an issue of any sort, you take care of it.
Yeah.
But again, your point is much of the stuff that constitutes warranty is the equipment.
Yeah.
And
that's the majority. That's the majority of the issues that
we've
we
never
see.
had at Balance a structural
Okay. Well, I was going to that.
problem with our boats. Our boats are pounding around the world all over the place. You're not seeing cracks in bulkheads. You're not seeing, big delaminate. You're not seeing this kind of stuff. You're seeing very little on that front, almost nothing. Okay. Yeah. Knock on wood, we haven't had a rig go over or anything like that on any of our boats, which doesn't mean at one point it might happen. And so we're really proud of that. And we've got multiple circumnavigations in terms of miles on our boats.
Yeah.
And that's great to know. It means that structurally our boats they're proper.
Yeah.
If anything, I think on some levels, maybe we're a little overbuilt in a way. But it's really interesting when you're building boats, you walk a fine line between underbuild and overbuild. And we're building a performance cat. So we're constantly wanting to keep our weight as light as possible, but we're also wanting to keep the quality and the durability and the strength in the right place, right?
Yeah.
Because you can build things right on the edge and they'll be light, but that's when you can run into some serious structural or quality problems that are not the sort we ever want to have at Balance.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad you commented on that, because I was going to say we spent a lot of time talking about OEMs, and that's because that's what we do most of the time. And it's really good to know that the structural side.
I mean, sometimes people have asked, have you ever had to fly in like somebody or, whatever. And we've had a couple of occasions where a boat will arrive in a place and we'll look at what the issue is and realize, gee, you know what? We can't get the right person to do this. If we fly in our own people, we can get it done quicker, better, and more affordably, and we'll do that.
Yeah, it typically happens when we don't have a trusted partner in that location and we're not confident with the resolution.
Right.
Which that list of places is shrinking, right? So.
Well, it's interesting. I was here. We have a Belgian customer that visited me, and he had a Balance that sailed almost nonstop from Cape Town to Crete, the island of Crete. Okay, you can imagine this is a long sail. The boat stopped, I think, only in the Canaries and Gibraltar. Okay, it's maiden voyage. It got there and contacted us. He's in Crete, and there's these issues, but they weren't major. We use the expression in America, knickknacks. It was knickknacks, a little leaky hatch or this, whatever. Got the list and said, listen, this is minor stuff. Just find a contractor, near you or whatever. We made some calls. We couldn't find anybody in Crete that I felt confident was going to get the job done. So I said, a couple of the factory guys, we said, how long? You're up for a vacation in Crete? Sure. Flew up the two guys 1 week, went through the whole boat, took care of every knickknack and flew home. That customer was happy. We saved a lot of money. We got the work done quickly and got the work done properly. So we're going to make a call based on what we think is the most efficacious way to, attend with the problem. Well, all I can say is, as the founder of Balance, that, Patrick and you working together and what you're doing, and Annie in St. Francis, and Anel and Philisande in Cape Town, like our teams are really, working together closely to drive, I think, great. I want to be the best in the marine industry, which means that we'll never be perfect, but we can try. Yeah.
And that's the point of having people in different places now, is that, and we said that in the previous video, is that all of this is related, is that there's these constant feedback loops at every level. And as we expand and have these conversations more and more and more, the data gets captured. We systematize this so that it just becomes a great experience. And that's the goal, as you said. So yeah.
That's right. I mean, and we have a lot more European customers now, which is partially why we're here.
Yeah.
And building out that support and structure, here in Europe's important. And we're set up in Cannes, we're set up in Italy, and but the Med is really interesting because it's port after port after port. Rounding Italy, rounding Croatia, rounding. There's many different locations that people end up being in, and so we're building out the right people to service the boats in those areas.
That's it. Yeah. Right. Well, let's leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that.
There's probably going to be more questions about warranty, but we'd like to do more just videos like this, just talking about these subjects, which enables you to ask more questions, which makes us make more videos. So please do get involved, ask us away, and we will do our best to communicate not just amongst ourselves and our OEMs and our builders, but also with you. So with that,
stay in balance.
Stay in balance.